What is up, everyone? Welcome back to our weekly Dynasty Fantasy Football video. Week 3 was rough. Lots of injuries, lots of amazing games, lots of special teams plays. Isaiah Rodgers apparently breaking PFF, so shout outs to him. If anyone has an IDP league and started him, you earned it. Today we are breaking down some data because we are 25% through the fantasy football regular season. So we got to start making some conclusions about rookies, about what their production is going to say for the rest of the year, and for long-term what their outlook looks like. So today we are doing the age-old tier list of panic. Each tier we ranked off of rookies from last year based on kind of the vibes we got from them. So for the full panic mode, it's Panthers legend, Xavier Legette. For slight panic, we got Caleb Williams, where he wasn't as good as we wanted to see, but still there's upside there. As expected, the Rome Odunze of there was Keenan Allen, there was DJ Moore, there was a lot going on there. We didn't expect Rome to absolutely crush his rookie year. No panic, Bucky Irving absolutely came in, slowly took over that backfield, and towards the end of the year was one of the sexy RBs that we saw. Last, obviously Malik Neighbors. We kind of knew he was good right when he stepped on the field.
And obviously, early in the season, we've got a 3-game sample size. It's Dynasty, but, their value is obviously tied to the production. So we're going to talk through expectations, where Dynasty value is at right now with some of these guys, because I think there are a lot of moves to be made and to be had if you disagree with where you think the general consensus is from a value perspective. And we are going to go position by position, starting with running backs, starting with Genty, who has had a disappointing start to the season. I'm going to put Genty just based off of initial value as a some panic, and I want to put as expected. I really do. Maybe you'll talk me out of it. 17 carries for 63 yards, and to me it's a little bit less on Genty himself and more on the situation that he is in currently. So Raiders offensive line, Ryan McFadden, the Raiders ESPN writer, noted that Genty was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 11 of his 17 attempts against Washington and 57% on his rush attempts this season. Only a 68% running back carry share and had no targets. We're seeing 2 for Zamir White this last game, 1 for Dylan Nobby. The sum panic is just a little bit tied to overall expectations and draft capital. I mean, in redraft leagues, this was a first-round pick. So feel free to talk some sense into me. Should I move him down to as expected? Am I being too reactionary, putting him in the sum panic in startup drafts when he was going right behind Bijan and Gibbs? I don't think that he carries that weight and value in trades at this moment. So I think that's why I'm putting him in the sum panic tier.
Dare I say, I'm putting him in no panic. What makes me optimistic about him is while his work hasn't been the most efficient and he's getting hit behind the line, it's only 3 weeks and they are straight up giving him the ball a crap ton. I mean, he's touching the ball 17 times a game, 18 times a game. Eventually, those things are going to break his way as he gets more involved in the offense, especially as he hopefully improves his pass blocking and isn't just standing around and making bad Twitter videos. If he can find ways to be involved in those third down plays more, get some of that passing work, I expect his workload to go up. That investment is so high into him. And the next guy that we're talking about is a great example of why I have no panic when it comes to a player like this so far. I'm not trying to overreact with a player that they invested so heavily in.
I moved him into as expected. I was going to meet you in the middle, but I jumped the gun. I got excited for the video. I'm with you. I agree. I think the workload has been great. I think we'll probably see at least one of White or Dylan Nobby phased out a little bit. I'll meet you at the no panic, and we'll go right into Hampton here, who I want to put in the stud category based off what we saw. I think the same tier as Genty feels weird with the production we saw this last game, and I almost want to move him into stud just based off of the unfortunate Najee injury as well, just for the rest of the season.
Big thing, obviously, the Najee injury, which absolutely stinks, but for him, it just means hey, he has to get the workload now, and they're not going to have the excuse of oh, we'll slowly have him. No, now it's basically Hampton and whoever else is there. And add in 6 receptions on 7 targets in one of the best passing offenses. We're just going to see Hampton continue to have elite usage. And I think that's ultimately the biggest detractor of a Genty type right now is the Raiders just don't have the same passing offense that the Chargers have. And the Chargers also have a better offensive line. We got to stop Ladd and QJ apparently. And Keenan Allen, grows from the dead. There's so much going on in that offense with Herbert and what they can do, and add in the fact that they also have a great defense. I mean, the Chargers in general are just a much better team, and that I think is just going to play into Hampton's favor a lot.
Yeah, I've got him in stud right now, and I think it's a little bit of I could see them in similar dynasty value asset tiers for the rest of the season, but I think the redraft value and the value that Hampton will carry for the rest of the season with the Najee injury, and obviously 1-year deal. Sounds like it is going to be an Achilles out for the season. I think the biggest thing for me too, high pass rate for the Chargers start the season, and seeing him get that 7 targets, 6 receptions. I don't think he's necessarily going to be CMC type plus receiving weapon, but if we can get 3-4 receptions for a guy that we expect to get, 16 to 20 carries every game for high flying offense, I think he deserves to be in the stud category. We've got Travion Henderson here, which is a really interesting week to talk about Henderson. Obviously, the first 2 weeks of production were not what people were expecting after what we saw in the preseason. I think the 3 fumbles we saw between Ramondre and Gibson, and seeing the second half opportunity increase for Henderson. Production wasn't there in this game, only 11 carries, 28 yards, 3 receptions on 3 targets for 19 yards. But I think this is a nice trend up for Henderson. And quick reminder, just for the rest of the video, these are rookies, man. 3 games into an NFL career. We've got a full tier list. I'm putting Genty in the some panic to start the video. There are overreactions that happen in the Dynasty space. I want to put no panic with Genty. I think no panic or as expected. Next couple weeks, we're talking about Henderson in the no panic. I think Ramondre will be a part of this backfield. I'm putting him in as expected at this moment. Are you with no panic or as expected?
I would lean as expected just because I do think, Ramondre is trying to give him the job at this point, but even the run with Gibson is a little concerning of it's probably going to be more of a committee than we would like. Where both Hampton and Genty, they are it. So when it comes to Henderson, I still think Stevenson will have some sort of split in this, and potentially even Gibson getting some run. Obviously, the fumbles were ridiculous, so they just were like, we have to do Henderson. I could honestly see him having similar or a little bit less usage next week, just because everyone was trying to get into the doghouse this week.
It's been kind of the thing for Ramondre too, and I think Vrabel does kind of feel like the doghouse type of coach. I think Henderson is a great pass protector running back, but we saw some holding penalties, some issues with that last game, and I think that was a little bit of the doghouse stuff we saw at the beginning of the game versus the second half after some fumbles. It remains to be seen if we'll see Henderson really kind of step up and be the 1A of that backfield, but I do think, unfortunately, is going to be a bigger split than people wanted for the talent of Travion Henderson. Next up here, we've got Quinshon Judkins, who I think was been a bit of a surprise, and especially against this Green Bay defense. I do kind of want to put him in the stud category with this workload that we're seeing. Now, I think the overall offense, very different between the Chargers and the Browns, and I don't think we'll see too many red zone carries for Judkins, but we saw one this game, 18 for 94, touchdown, even had a reception, 2 targets, only a yard, but he had 3 receptions the previous game. I kind of want to put him in this no panic category. The overall offense for the Browns and expectations, I think it's going to be hard for people to vault Judkins up to the Hampton tier just based off of overall offense. We'll pair him here. And to me, I'm going to put him in some panic here, but we saw a lot more Jerome Ford than I wanted to see. So I'm going to put him in some panic just based off of huge fall off in snap count, not very involved in the offense in this game. 17 snaps, 5 snaps in the 2 Judkins games. I think you have to have some panic on Samson. But yeah, let me know. Are you no panic and some panic on these 2 guys respectively?
Well, that was like watching Michael Penix trying to tackle a pick six. You put yourself in a blender there. But yeah, I do agree. I think Judkins does have a potential looming suspension of some kind this year. You like what you saw. The efficiency there is there. And then even with Dylan Sampson doing incredible week 1, Judkins walked in and is like, hey, this is my backfield. Judkins to me is no panic. Sampson, I do agree with the slight panic. It might be Ford this year, but Sampson's still someone of value. It's not like someone I'm going to cut in, medium to deeper dynasty leagues. He's certainly someone you want to roster. And if Judkins is out for any, extended period of time, you feel pretty confident slotting in Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, I think the tough thing about the Browns overall is going to be we're not going to have Joe Flacco forever. Dylan Gabriel standing, waiting in the wings, getting some snaps at the end of some games. So
Shadur Sanders,
yeah,
dropping out in the practice squad.
So I don't know how many 8 target, 8 reception games we'll see from Dylan Sampson, but I think he showed enough to, in the future be able to push for that 3rd down role that we saw Jerome Ford have. Next up here, and this is going to be a tough one, man. We've got RJ Harvey, 2 carries for 2 yards, 3 receptions on 3 targets for 14 yards, and the running back mate J.K. Dobbins. It feels like it's his backfield. 11 for 83 and a touchdown, 1 reception, 1 target, 1 yard. Harvey, I'm going to set him next to Travion here, and just kind of as an overall, not trying to overreact to where a rookie is being used week 3 when he has a strong running back mate in the committee. Are you more worried just based off of this last game and where the trend is going? Or are you also with me and holding out hope week 3 of his rookie year?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, I'm going to be more patient with running backs just because opportunities can change a lot. We saw it with Najee going down, and all of a sudden Hampton's getting so much work that it's hard for him not to produce well. I expect Harvey, with the level of investment, to have some opportunity in the future. But I will say it's probably a slight panic of J.K. Dobbins. Like, J.K. Dobbins is the guy that is coming in here. It's a bit of that. It's also a bit of just Sean Payton being annoying. I expect R.J. Harvey to still get it going. He's someone I'm going to be more patient with than most. But it's certainly concerning that, like, Dobbins is basically keeping him off the field.
All right. JCM, Bill. We get the Ryan Robinson trade. We get the Austin Eckler out for the season. Big breakout Bill game. 8 for 26, saved by a touchdown in the third quarter. 1 reception on a target for 5 yards. The non-QB rush attempts in this game. We had 11 for Chris Rodriguez after 2 healthy scratches. 8 for Bill. 4 for Jerry McNichols, who had a monster game off of a huge 60-yard touchdown run on his own read. And then 3 for Debo, which I don't think will go away. You know, I'm sure we'll even see bigger rush games for Debo. I think this will be a gross committee. We're going to see more Chris Rodriguez, more Jeremy McNichols than anybody wants to see. I am going to leave in the some panic. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think some panic is justified just because Chris Rodriguez going from 2 healthy scratches to 11 touches, and you're like, wait a minute. I mean, it's kind of expected, but it's also a little bit frustrating with some of the prices that we've seen JCM being moved for. The expectations started building a little bit more than just, oh, he's a 7th round guy. I hope he touches the field.
Next up here, we've got Cam Scadaboo, who had kind of a breakout game paired with the Tyrone Tracy dislocated shoulder injury. He'll be out for a little while. The Giants backfield had one of the worst broken tackle rates in the first 2 games of the season. I do think Scadaboo kind of looked the part as a legitimate NFL running back against his Chiefs defense on Sunday night. I think he's a capable pass catcher. You know, that was something I liked about his college profile. Obviously, monster game, 10 for 60, a touchdown, 6 receptions on 8 targets for 61 yards. I think a lot of that was the Russell Wilson checkdown stuff. I do think we're going to see Dart potentially sooner than expected. You know, obviously, Giants are 0-3. We saw Andrew Thomas back. I think that was a big piece in getting Dart back as well. We got the "We Want Dart" chants from the crowd that you're hearing over the broadcast on Sunday Night Football. I am going to put, as expected, I think we'll get a nice run out for Scadaboo here with the Tracy injury. I think you could maybe put Scadaboo in the no panic tier just based off of expectations, you know, being kind of that mid-second round pick. And this feels like the elite best run out.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I think this is kind of like the poor man's Hampton situation of Tyrone Tracy's out. The committee is going to be like, do you want Singletary or Cam Scadaboo? And add in the fact that he saw a huge work of those checkdowns for this season, especially. He should be a locked in, you know, low end RB1 upside type guy.
All right, Tootin here. I am going to set Tootin in the no panic. We got the nice run out with the tank trade, obviously. This does still feel like ETN's backfield for sure. The offense feels a bit broken. We'll talk about Travis Hunter in a little bit here, but 6 carries, 21 yards, another touchdown in this game, had a target. I don't know if we'll see the full Tootin takeover that Dynasty D-Gens are hoping and wishing for. I think ETN, I need it as well, but I think ETN has looked pretty good. And I think they like LaQuint Allen enough to have him involved on some of these, you know, third down, pass protecting, receiving workload stuff. So to me, I'm going to put Tootin in the no panic. Where you at with Tootin?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tootin is like an injury away from ETN, from being someone that's like, oh my gosh, like has that Cam Scadaboo upside.
Yep. That
being said, I do have a lot of concerns about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense in general. Like the vibes just very much seem off. It's about what I expect. He could certainly rise up the rankings, but he's not as high as someone that is like a Cam Scadaboo or a Hampton.
I'm gonna stand my ground. I'm gonna hold Tootin no panic. Let me know in the comments if I need to move him up. I think ETN, you could argue just in terms of situation, like maybe he needs to be in this as expected, just based off of the pairing. You know, all right, fine, you can have it. Never mind. Don't let me know in the comments anymore. I'll capitulate. Caleb
put himself in the blender again.
Caleb Johnson here. I can finally be out of the blender. I think you have to go full panic. I think everyone was expecting this. Was active, but you know, we saw the Trey Sermon active reports and everyone was like, healthy scratch Caleb. Obviously did nothing in this game. This is Jalen Warren's backfield, 23 opportunities. Kenneth Gainwell was the only other running back with touches. He had 5. My take and guess on Caleb Johnson as a player, because I think he is a good downfield runner. And I think that if the Steelers were like, F it, let's give this guy 18 carries a game. He's our Hampton. We saw this last game. I think he would have decent production, or at least not terrible production, that you feel like you would be getting out of somebody who's basically been a healthy scratch. I think the pass protection stuff is the biggest thing. We saw reports in the offseason that was something he was wanting to work on. If there's any quarterback to send a running back to the shadow realm because of pass protection issues, it would be Aaron Rodgers. Big trust guy, veteran leaning for sure. Even with that being said, even though I think he's a good downhill runner, I cannot, in good faith, put this man in any tier other than full panic.
Yeah, I hate to agree. I mean, I'm patient with running backs.
Yeah.
But he's just had the worst rollout I can imagine, pretty much since like a Trey Sermon type. That being said, we have seen people overcome a bad, underwhelming rookie year. Look at Trey Benson, where everyone was like, "Oh, can't do anything. It's James Conner." All it takes is some opportunities. It with running back, we see that happen. It might be a year 2 or year 3. So I don't think he's like completely worthless, but yeah, it's not something where I'm like excited to have Caleb Johnson or wanting to buy him. And I think too, adding the fact that he was like a late first expectation, I think that causes it to sting a little bit more when you got guys like Tootin and Cam Scatterboo and all those guys, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck with Caleb Johnson.
All right, next up, wide receivers here. And I'm going straight to the stud category for Igbuka. Not expecting any pushback, please. Man, Igbuka has
surprising.
absolutely smashed. I mean, 6 receptions, 8 targets, 85 yards in this last game. And we, even with the snap count reports we were getting with the injury heading into the game, ran around on 62% of the dropbacks and still had that production. We got the Evans hamstring injury. I know Chris Godwin is coming back, and I think that was kind of the big fear with some people with the run out for Igbuka. Like, yeah, his production's decent. Yeah, he got the touchdowns, so we're kind of boosting the fantasy production. I think that he has shown enough in these first 3 games for him to at least be in that top 20 dynasty wide receiver, regardless of how high you want to put him up. I think any rookie wide receiver that 3 games into the season that was a first round pick that is locked into that top 20 dynasty wide receiver through the 3 games of production deserves to be in the stud category for this tier list that we're making. Any pushback, Jeremy, or can we move on?
No, I mean, I think he's he's a 22% target share. He's second on the team. And the fact that Mike Evans will be out, Chris Godwin is coming back. They probably won't have all 3 wide receivers pretty often. He could see a dip in production with everyone back, but I'm not concerned about the talent. It could just be kind of a JSN Rome situation of, oh, well, everyone's back. Just wait a little bit. Then you'll get back to that elite production.
And then next up here, Teteroa, McMillan, T-Mac. I am going to put him in the stud category as well. I mean, this last game, the production was not great. 3 receptions, 48 yards, but had 8 targets, 24% target share, first on the team. To me, I think in the first 3 games of the season, just pure eye test, similar to Igbuka, just looks like a stud. And compared to the rest of the Panthers receiving core, for sure, I think we are going to see a dominant target share from the rookie for this entire season.
I mean, as a Panthers player or fan, not player, I could probably be on defense. As a Panthers fan, gotta say stud. I will say Ted's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer of making catches that don't count. He's already had like 3 amazing catches this year. But yeah, I mean, he's been very impressive. And if the Panthers can figure out their offense and defense, we should see improved targets and a better offense to invest in long term.
Next up here, not going to the stud category just based off of the production we've seen through the first 3 weeks of the season. I am going to put Travis Hunter in as expected. You could push him to some panic, and we'll see what this conversation looks like.
I'm going to some panic. I'm going to some panic.
All right, let me give you the as expected, okay, breakdown, and then you can push for the some panic. For me, and I will give it to you, okay. Not great production, 1 reception, 2 targets, 21 yards in this game. The snap stuff was scary as well. 43 out of 63 defensive snaps, 37 out of 70 offensive snaps. Even in a game where Diami Brown was injured, we saw a lot of Tim Patrick, Parker Washington as well. For me, there was some weird stuff too, as well, with just like missing alignment stuff. There was a timeout on a key 3rd down after T-Law had made a check. There's teammates telling him where to line up, and that's kind of pointing back a little bit to the Colorado stuff. Spider Y, banana, Travis Hunter, you're going to run a fly. Travis Hunter, give me a 10-yard out. I'm running a screen pass to you. As expected, based on the talent, I think we see the twitchiness. I think we saw some design touches in the first game of the season. To me, I think it's going to take a while. I think we are going to see back end of the season, we're going to start seeing a increase on the offensive snaps from what we saw in this week in this game. I think a lot of people see a downward trend in the defensive snaps and think this is where we're at. 50-50 split on both sides. To me, I think that is more akin to a little bit of the matchup stuff with, we saw him on Nico a little bit. We saw the Bengals game with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. We expected an increase on that front as well. But to me, I think the Liam Cohen offensive scheme is pretty complex. I believe in the talent so much. I just don't think you can keep this guy off the field on the offense based on the way this passing offense looks right now. Give me the sun panic. Let me know.
I don't think I can trust him for fantasy football.
I kind of agree.
Unless he fully commits to wide receiver. I do believe in the talent, but I don't want to play the game of, I hope he plays enough snaps, because even if he has an amazing game, it's like, is he going to have an amazing game on offense? Like, it's, unless if I'm like an IDP league, to me, I don't really have an interest in dealing with the Travis Hunter experience. And that's why I would put him in a slight panic. I do think we can totally see it change, but add into the fact that the team is just like offensively just not clicking right now, especially in the passing game. I can't feel good about Travis Hunter as a wide receiver in a bad offense, even if he was playing 100% right now. And the fact that I'm not going to get 100% probably ever is like, okay, like you have to be an elite cornerback and wide receiver for this to really work for me.
Okay, late 26 first or Travis Hunter for you?
I'd probably still take Travis Hunter,
okay.
But if it was a 27 first, I'd probably take the 27 first.
I'm gonna hold my ground for the first time in this video. I'm gonna keep him there. You let me know if I'm an idiot. If I need to get out on my Travis Hunter right now. All right, next up here we've got Matthew Golden, 4 receptions, 4 targets, 52 yards, 3 carries for 9 yards in this game. Neither offense could move the ball this game. I mean, this was a battle of the defenses in this one. And
yeah, the Browns were very impressive.
Yeah, Browns getting the win on this one, but got some end arounds, and I think the earlier games could have looked much better for Golden. I mean, we had some close misses on some long shots from Jordan Love, and obviously with the Jaden Reed injury, I think that I would put Golden kind of in this as expected. I'm not going to put no panic just based off of this game, because I do think that overall target share will be up and down, sporadic. I think that's just what this offense is. Like, I don't think that Golden is necessarily going to be the one that the Packers have been hoping for. I think it's just going to be, even without Reed, maybe we get Watson back and it's going to be Dubs, Wicks, Watson, Kraft. I think it's just going to be up and down, sporadic, spike weeks. But I believe in the talent, and I like the role too. Like, if we can get some of these design touches. Now, we got a Savion Williams wildcat snap in this game, so it might even be grosser than I'm breaking down. So maybe you move off to some panic just based off of that. But I think I'm going to leave in as expected, because I am a believer in the talent.
In a weird way, like, I would say as expected as well, but I would say it as I didn't expect him to really be super trustworthy as a fantasy player to begin with.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like prime AJ Brown coming in there and it's going to demand a 25% target share. He didn't demand that in Texas, and now he's here, and it's like, yeah, that's what he's going to be, a poor man's JMO, where it's like he's going to get those big plays down the field, or he's not going to get much at all.
And then next up here, we've got Iomanur. I almost want to put him in the no panic. I'm not ready to push to stud, but based off of where he was going in rookie drafts, and even towards when there was positive buzz, I don't think he really crept up much higher than mid second round. Good production. Obviously, we've seen the touchdowns. Cam Ward has looked the part at times.
A roller coaster.
But a roller coaster for sure. That was a good breakdown. But Calvin Ridley, I mean, the drops have been weird. Production has not really been there as well. And last year with the team, and I think Iomanur has kind of locked himself into like a starting role for this Titans team. I think he's kind of demanded the targets.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's already outlived what the expectations for him are. And 20% target share as a rookie, clearly clicking with Cam Ward and has a long-term connection with Ward. It's not like a Calvin Ridley. And I'm like, cool. Like, I have a player that I can start and feel okay about that.
Yep. Next up here, we've got Luther Burden, and I'm going to put him in as expected for me. I mean, monster game, 3 receptions on 3 targets, 101 yards and a touchdown. We did see an uptick in snaps and some design packages for him. That massive gain was a flea flicker, which I don't know if anybody watched that game. That flea flicker pass back from DeAndre Swift was in the air for like 5 seconds. But it's exciting to see in this third game, after hearing Ben Johnson talk about wanting to get more looks for Burden and Colson Loveland, who we'll talk about later in the video. And, obviously Loveland had the injury, but we did see an uptick, I think, in that rookie usage. But I think a lot of people even had the expectations that it was going to be a slow ride for a talent that we like. And I think it's exciting to see Ben Johnson getting his bag a little bit.
Yeah, I think as expected is safe. When he's basically this year's Roma Dunze of there's a lot of talent there. There's a lot of mouths to feed. We got to figure out how it works, but we do know he was picked by Ben Johnson. He will be involved, and I don't expect DJ Moore or Cole Kmet to really be long-term players for the Bears in a year or two. So I expect Burton to be someone that does slowly start to be more involved, especially like next year and beyond. So I don't expect it to be like, oh my gosh, he's a stud. Like you gotta start him. But we were seeing enough of him being involved to feel optimistic about the pick.
Yeah. Next up here, we've got Trey Harris, and I am going to throw him in the some panic tier based off of a couple things. I want to put him in the as expected. We're talking about 3 games into a rookie season. And to me, it's less of the actual individual production or snap rate that we're seeing, 29% snap share in this last game. And to me, it's more of the QJ breakout. I think a lot of people wrote QJ off, and I think he looks like a legitimate NFL receiver that's going to be a part of this passing offense, even post Keenan Allen retiring. So to me, I think for the rest of the season, hard to believe without an injury, we see, the snap share increase too high. But I think the QJ breakout has me putting Trey Harris in the some panic tier just based off of a early mid second round price tag that he had in rookie drafts.
Yeah, I mean, I probably put him as expected, but I do agree with the analysis of we didn't expect QJ to be so good. I mean, QJ is literally making Ladd look like he's the wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 because Keenan's also looking to me, if like Keenan Allen and QJ weren't looking phenomenal, and it's like, okay, how is Trey Harris not being involved in this offense that's throwing the ball so much? I'd be concerned. But the fact that QJ and Keenan Allen both look like they are just best versions of themselves, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, you would start Trey Harris. But that being said, I mean, Trey Harris is in one of the best passing offenses in the league at this point. So if you're telling me all it takes is Keenan getting hurt or something like that, and then all of a sudden he's going to get decent opportunities, I feel okay with what we have right now, and I'm not going to write him off based on being in the best situation in the league as a wide receiver.
All right. Now, speaking about trusting the offense, let's go to the Houston Texans here. We've got Jaden Higgins, 1 reception, 1 target, 5 yards, 44. He's been right around this 40% snap share, and this was the first game that Christian Kirk was back, and immediately 67%. 3 receptions on 8 targets, 25 yards. This offense is broken, and Jaden Higgins is not really even a part of it. Where are you at with Higgins? I've got similar to Harris. I want to put him in the some panic, and it's a little bit similar of the cost conversation. If we're talking about the Chargers offense being exciting, hard to talk about the Texans offense being exciting. Am I being too harsh on these rookies 3 games in, putting him in the some panic tier?
I'm definitely putting Higgins in the some panic just because his role with Nico Collins is a little bit redundant. Add into the fact that Christian Kirk comes back and is getting the ball more in that offense already, and they do play a different role, but that offense is that passing offense just looks like a mess. I'm not completely out on the Texans offense long term, but I just don't think a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 in that offense even is worth that much. I think it's Nico Collins, and that's all I really want in this offense. I'm definitely very panicked about what's going to happen there.
All right, moving on to tight ends here. I'm just going straight to stud with the production we've seen from Tyler Warren, the target share he's demanded through the first 3 weeks of the season, and the system, man. The Colts offense looks legit. Daniel Jones looking good. Shane Steichen in his bag. And, design touches, they're getting him out in space. He's winning downfield. I just think Tyler Warren, I'm not going to say the dynasty value right now to be in the McBride Powers tier, but he has all of the feeling in the first 3 weeks of the season to be the next tight end that feels like he could jump into that tier with those guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree completely on that. I mean, he's looked very impressive, even if last week wasn't the most impressive game. He's the number 1 target earner on that team, and I'm going to trust that going forward. And that's what you want with tight ends. There's not many tight ends that are that true, basically wide receiver 1 of the team.
I'm going to put Loveland in as expected for me, and it's a little bit based off of this 3rd game we've seen here. He had 3 targets, had the hip injury in the second quarter, had 1 reception, 31 yards. Now, we probably should have mentioned this with Luther Burden as well. Obviously, package stuff we were talking about with Burden, but this was the Cowboys defense. We saw a monster Caleb Williams Bears game. I think this Cowboys defense is just going to get gashed every game they play. I'm a believer in the talent, but I think the situation and obviously a rookie in that crowded situation, just like we were thinking heading into the season, it's going to take some time. So to me, I'm putting him in the as expected. I'm not going to be too panicked. I think the snap share stuff was a little bit sketchy based off of, the draft capital we saw with him versus what we've seen from Tyler Warren in comparison. Maybe you want to throw Loveland in the full panic tier just compared to Tyler Warren. So maybe you're full panic.
Can you read my mind?
If you
I'm full panic on Colston Loveland.
Oh,
the
man.
price to get him,
Yeah.
the price to get him to what you're seeing. And when you look at, like, if you compare first round tight ends that have Colston Loveland's production, like the only one that's like comes close is like not even year one Kyle Pitts. Like it's literally like he just doesn't seem to be a true receiving threat, like high volume receiving threat. If I took a Colston Loveland with a first round pick, I am regretting it because Tyler Warren was probably right there as well.
Okay, if I'm going to do the at cost conversation with Harris and Higgins when talking about some panic, I can give you Loveland there. I believe, and maybe this is some Michigan bias, I believe in the Colston Loveland talent as a prospect. I think, to me, if we saw the lack of production the first 3 weeks of the season on like, man, he's got 90% of the routes, he's just not getting open, doesn't look good at all. But I think that this third week, if we didn't have the hip injury, and yes, it's, Cowboys defense, but I think it would have been a much different conversation if that 3 targets that we saw through, the quarter and a half ended up being 6 targets and he had 3 or 4 receptions for 60 yards. Then we would be confidently, in my opinion, putting him in the as expected tier and expecting that role to continue to increase the same way we're excited about Luther Burden. But I agree. I think, definitely compared and definitely looking at the cost, I'll give you the some panic. And I will not give you some panic with my GOAT, Harold Fannin Jr. I want to put him in the stud just because I think like that from the eye test perspective, him being used and winning like a wide receiver weapon in this offense really excites me. The way that Harold Fannin wins feels like what you want to buy from the Dynasty tight end position. Overall target share, what we're seeing him dominate.
He's on stud watch. That's what he's saying.
He's on stud watch to me. Am I approved? Do I have Dynasty Daddy approval to put him in the?
Absolutely. I thought it was interesting with Deontay Johnson. I know he has like a lot of baggage, but he's always seen to be a decent enough receiver, especially for a team that lacked the talent of like the Browns. But the fact that they were like, oh, we don't need him, was like, okay, there's someone here that they really trust to kind of fill in that role. And you see that Harold Fannin is just slid right in there. And with Njoku, I think on the last year of his deal, Harold Fannin is going to be a guy that's going to be a great tight end pick for years to come.
Next up here, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I am going to start the conversation with Cam Ward in the as expected tier. And to me, it's the expectations of a first round rookie quarterback, what we've seen. I mean, just look back through the years. Now, obviously, you can think back to Jaden Daniels and the absolute smashes that we've seen from the rookie quarterback position in the first couple, weeks of the season. But to me, 3 weeks into an NFL quarterback with the Tennessee Titans offensive line and just overall team, I'm not a big Callahan believer. 23 for 38 in this last game, 219, a touchdown and a pick, 3 carries for 12 yards. But I think he has the arm talent. I think he has looked the part of a quarterback that should be a starting quarterback in the NFL that is just a rookie 3 games into the season. Are you putting him in some panic, or is he okay here?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's as expected. You also just got to think about what are the Titans' expectations coming into the year. It's not like a Caleb Williams with the Bears last year. It's like, wait, this does look like a decent enough situation you should be able to thrive in. It's like, no, you are on the Titans. Offense isn't impressive. Their defense is all right. That team, the expectations are pretty low.
And we'll be quick on this last one, closing out with Jackson Dart. I'm going to throw him in the as expected. I think we'll probably see Dart at some point this season. 0-3 for the Giants, like to talk about when we were talking about Scadaboo there. Andrew Thomas back. We see him on the sidelines, reading the play calls. We've seen him getting some packages in the game as well. I think the preseason, what we saw, you get excited about the rushing. I don't know if you get excited about the Giants offense overall, but, having some wide receiver, having Andrew Thomas back, Cam Scadaboo looking like an okay NFL running back.
He's a, Michael Penix last year, JJ McCarthy. You're like, okay, I just got to wait. Like, we just got to wait until he's in there. But the underlying process doesn't change on how we feel about the player.
If we didn't talk about the player that you were panicked on, join us Tuesday night for the Dynasty Daddy trade show live streams. We do weekly Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Always a good time. 2 hours just yapping. A bunch of Dynasty degenerates in the chat bringing their trades. If you're on the Discord, links in the description. Join that. Jeremy, any parting words for the people?
I mean, see y'all Tuesday. I'm excited to actually have some data to look over these rookies. This is the part of the year where everyone starts to panic a little bit. You know, the teams that are 1-2 or 0-3 are like, we got to figure it out. So betting on rookies, figuring out what's real, what's not, and we actually have real data to look at now is the key to winning these mid season